So here we have the Reg Magic 8 Pro, the Void version, and this is a gaming phone packed full of impressive specs. It's powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, it comes with a huge 16GB of DDR5 RAM along with 512GB of UFS storage and a whopping 6000 mAh battery. With these specs, it's going to come as no surprise that this is an incredible phone for mobile gaming, and you'll see just how good when we get into the game tests and benchmarks, but there are however a few large drawbacks that may stop you buying the phone. The display is a huge positive of the Reg Magic 8 Pro Void version. We've got super slim bezels making it great to enjoy media. It's a 120Hz AMOLED display with a Full HD Plus resolution of 2480 by 1116. We've also got 960Hz multi-finger touch sampling, DC dimming, and the whole thing is protected by Gorilla Glass 5. So most notably, you can see there's no punch-hole selfie camera on the front, and this is because it uses an under-panel camera, which is both a great strength and a huge weakness at the same time. So in terms of the under-panel camera technology, for gamers it's great. Unlike many other phones out there, you can't really see the strange pixels where the camera is placed. With darker colours, you just don't see it at all, and then when you've got a white background, you can just about see it, so it's an almost perfect under-panel camera. Now the reason I say almost perfect is because if you want to take some great selfies, then unfortunately you're out of luck. It takes selfies and you can see what you've taken a picture of, but in all fairness, it looks awful. The colours are off, there's barely any detail, and it's almost as if you've got a dirty lens, and it really struggles in every lighting conditions, and we sometimes get halo effects going on in the photos as well. So let's be honest, they're not photos that you'd put on Instagram. It's exactly the same story when it comes to the selfie videos, and as you can see, there's a lot of magenta coming through and a very blurry image. I also tried it at nighttime and it just doesn't work at all, and you can barely see anything. So if you don't care about selfies, then it's great. If you do care about selfies, it's a clear no, but I also have to think that it would have been a much better move just not to have a selfie camera at all. On the back of the phone, for a gaming phone, I think it looks great. The previous models like the 5 and 6 were just a bit too out there for me with their bright shiny colours. But with the Reg Magic 8 Pro, it's a much more polished look, but still keeping that gamer feel. We've got RGB lighting that can be customized with colours as well as how it flashes. You can choose between different flashes or breathing modes and even have it react to sound. Now this coupled with the RGB fan gives it a nice gamer feel, and to be honest, what gamer doesn't want RGB? Now when it comes to the cameras, we've got a 50 megapixel primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 2 megapixel macro camera. The primary camera uses the 50 megapixel Samsung GN5 sensor, and to be fair, we get great photos, it's just not up there with the top flagship camera phones. We do however get some nice detail, some good dynamic range, along with some great colours. When it comes to night mode however, things change a lot. We get a lot of noise and a lot of loss of detail, and you really need to have a steady hand for the long shutter time of the photos. For video, it performs pretty well. At 1080p, 60 frames a second, the video looks fine, and you can see we do get a little bit of stuttering from my walking. Then we also do have some focus issues when I'm turning around pretty quickly, but overall it's alright for a gaming phone that's put the camera second. Now with 4K at 60 frames a second, again it looks pretty good. We've got nice colour and detail, and the stabilization is also working pretty well. You can see I'm turning around quite a lot in this footage, and we still get some reasonable quality video. It also records 8K at 30 frames a second, which as you can see here is very detailed. It just lacks stabilization, and you can really see the juddering of my footsteps. Now for nighttime video, it unfortunately performs pretty poorly, and you can see there's plenty of noise, and it's really struggling when it comes to the footsteps. When it comes to the ultra-wide camera, unfortunately, it isn't so good here either. While we get an ultra-wide shot, it comes at the cost of much lower detail and some really washed out colours. If we compare it side by side to the primary camera, you can see just how different these two cameras are. And again, for me, I would never actually use the ultra-wide because of this, so it doesn't really need to be there. There was also no option to record video through the ultra-wide camera unless it's a setting that's there, and I wasn't able to find it. Now finally, the 2 megapixel macro camera does do okay. I'm not really a macro person, but you can see the results here. Now I feel like I've been a little bit harsh on the cameras, as we need to remember this is a gaming phone and not a camera phone, but of course I just want to be honest for those of you that are also going to want to take pictures. Software-wise, it's been spot on. It's running Reg Magic OS 6, which is based on Android 13, and it's been fast and snappy, and I haven't run into any bugs. There's not much bloatware on there either, and it comes with relatively few apps, which is always nice to see. And then heading into settings, there's plenty of customization for those of you that want it. Now you can select from multiple different themes. We've got plenty of options for always on display, including animation and customizable ones, and we can even change the in-display fingerprint animation. Now in terms of the in-display fingerprint scanner itself, it's worked well and it's worked every time. It opens the phone quick enough and I haven't had any problems with it not recognizing my fingerprint. It also has face unlock, and to be fair, this has worked every single time. The speeds do tend to vary and sometimes it takes longer than others. I just question how secure this is given the quality of the selfie camera it's using for the unlock. In terms of the RGB lights, you can fully customize these from their colors and flashing types, and you can choose different ones for notifications, calls, charging, or alarms. For media, it's an incredible phone with a bright full screen display. We've got dual speakers that are going to let you enjoy any film, TV or YouTube, and for those of you concerned about DRM, we've got Widevine level 1. Although the Reg Magic 8 Pro has this boxy design, it's still comfortable enough to hold. While curves probably would make it that little bit more comfortable in normal use, I feel this design is actually much better for the gaming. So now we'll go on to what the phone is really about, and that of course is the gaming. And for those of you that do care about the synthetic benchmarks, we've got some great news. For the Wildfire Extreme GPU test, we've got some very impressive results. For the best loop, we've got a score of 3,702, and even on the lowest loop, it was 3,672, and we also have a stability core of 99.2%, and these are the best scores I've ever seen on a phone. In the 20-minute stress test, the battery only dropped by 11% and the temperatures were between 31 to 41 degrees. On Geekbench 5, we got a single core score of 1,486 and then a multi-score of 5,178, and again, these are some pretty impressive scores. Now the Reg Magic 8 Pro has the Red Core 2, and this is a secondary chip designed to handle the audio processing, the haptic feedback and the RGB lighting, and this is so that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 can focus on the raw performance. The phone has symmetrical dual X-axis linear motors for the vibration, and it does vibrate nice and strongly, and it gives you that extra bit of immersion in the game if you do want it. They've also upgraded the heat dissipation, and we get a large vapor cooling plate, an upgraded layer of graphene under the screen, we get a high-speed 20,000 RPM fan on top of much more. Through my gameplay, the phone does get a little bit warm, but it doesn't get too hot to touch, which is nice. We've also got the dual speakers that go nice and loud, and it's great for when you're gaming with the speakers. And then we've also got a 3.5mm headphone jack on the top for those of you that want to enjoy your headphones without added latency. Now the game switch on the side, it makes it really easy to go into gaming mode where we can select from all of our games, and then we've got plenty of added features as well. There are so many adjustments and settings that we can change within the Reg Magic's game space, and we even have the option to make game notes as well as screen recording. Now when playing a game, we can swipe from the left or right on the top side, and this is going to reveal a huge range of features and settings. On the right hand side, we've got what I would refer to as the phone settings. We can adjust the display's refresh rate, we can turn on the performance information, so have things on screen like the frame rate, we can activate game recording or screen recording, as well as turning on the rotation lock. There's also a handy shortcut to block any incoming calls, and we can also add our own custom tiles here. On the left side, it's more game-related features, and we've got a stopwatch, a permanent on-screen crosshair that we can customize in design, size, and the color. We can record and use macros, adjust key mappings, and even play with the sound equalizer to get the sound that we want. Now, of course, being a gaming phone, we've also got two 520Hz shoulder triggers, and these have a response time as fast as 7.4 milliseconds, and I have to say that I really like them. I'm more of a PC gamer and not much of a mobile gamer, because generally I find it quite difficult to press all of the different buttons on screen at the same time, but with these shoulder buttons it completely changes my gameplay. With first person shooters, I can now easily aim down the sight, look around and shoot at the same time, whereas without the shoulder buttons I found this near impossible. As you'd expect, Every single game I've tried on this phone, it just works incredibly well. We've got great sound, a great high refresh rate display, and thanks to the phone's hardware and cooling, it just breezes through the games with ease. Now the strong vibration motors really add a bit more excitement to the games, and the overall boxy design of the phone I find much better when holding it for landscape for gaming, and best of all, the phone doesn't get too hot when playing. I feel like we're essentially getting to the point now where this is a portable games console, but it also takes photos and makes calls. We don't have to worry so much about charging while playing the games either, as the Reg Magic 8 Pro Void comes with a huge 6000 mAh dual cell battery, and thanks to its 65 watt fast charge, it can recharge the phone from 0 to full in 43 minutes. Now when it comes to the unboxing, we first get a plastic protective case, which is always nice to have it included with the phone. We then get the phone itself, and below that we get the charging brick and the cable. Now Nubia sent me this phone for review, but unfortunately they didn't advise me of the launch price, which is a little bit frustrating, but if you're watching this video, the launch would have just happened though, so I'll place the price down in the description below along with a link to where you can look at the phone. Thankfully, this is also a global release though, so there's not going to be a problem getting your hands on one. My overall thoughts though is that this is a beast of a gaming phone, and they're really putting thought into the features that gamers would want, as well as including all of the hardware so you get the best gaming performance. For a mobile gamer, this is no doubt going to be an incredible phone. Now as I covered earlier, the only downside really is on the cameras. The primary camera is good, so there's no problem there, but if you like to take selfies and on top of that you want high quality selfies, then this phone is just not suitable. So bottom line is, if you want a gaming phone and you don't care about selfies, then definitely consider the Reg Magic 8 Pro, but if you like your selfies, then consider looking at something else. But that's pretty much it from me today, but as always, if there's anything I've missed in this review or you've got any questions at all, then just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.